We're here today to reparent the inner child and talk about what that really means. So hey there. If you've ever heard the phrase reparent your inner child and either rolled your eyes or quietly cried without knowing why, it's okay, but this one's for you. So what is reparenting and why is it misunderstood? Well, let's start here. Reparenting is actually kind of a misnomer because the truth is you can't go back and replace your childhood. You can't undo all the moments where someone should have held you and didn't, where you needed to be believed but weren't, and where love came with conditions, or worse, with silence. But what you can do is start showing up for yourself today in ways that you were never taught to. You can learn to be the adult who listens to your fear instead of ignoring it, who nurtures instead of shaming. That's what reparenting really is. It's not about perfect parenting. It's about showing up now in an imperfect but compassionate way. So what are the pitfalls of reparenting and how do we disconnect with that in society today? Well, one of the biggest reasons inner child work is so hard is because, let's be real, it's our culture shames sensitivity. Patriarchy teaches us to power through, man up. You just gotta get over it. Showing compassion to our younger selves, that's considered weak, immature, even indulgent. But here's the thing. You don't outgrow yourself or your wounds by ignoring them. You just grow up learning to hide them better and performing and putting on the mask. And so many adults are doing just that, living completely disconnected from the parts of them that still ache, that still long for difference, that still don't understand why love came with all of those strings attached. So why can't you just go to your parents and have them fix it for you? Well, maybe you've tried already going back to your parents, and maybe you've hoped for a confession, an apology, a repair. I did, and the first time I even met the concept of the inner child was after seeing a medium who said, I had a past life as a little girl who was royalty, who died in a fire. She was terrified of enclosed spaces and choking on smoke. And those are real fears that I have in this life. I've had them my entire life and never understood where they came from. It was a bit eerie. But what shook me more was that the story unlocked a fear in this life of not being seen, of being invisible, and not being heard, and how my adult self tries to overcompensate for that by dominating conversations, struggling to listen, and constantly redirecting everything back to myself. It wasn't actually narcissism, it was survival. It was my inner self screaming, please see me, even when it wasn't time to be seen. When I tried to talk to my mom about my actual childhood traumas, I was met with toxic positivity and self-centered reactions. It happened to me too. Just move on. We don't owe them any more of ourselves. You're stronger than this. I even dragged her off to therapy, and she hated it. She said the therapist was too young, said it felt like we were ganging up on her, and I realized you just can't heal with someone who refuses to acknowledge the wound. You can't heal a parent who doesn't think they even hurt you from the get-go, who just expects you to forgive them because they were doing their best without apologizing for the fact that their best was pretty under par. When we don't get what we need, we internalize that absence. Eventually, we stop asking for it altogether. And that's where abandonment of self really sets in. Not just being left by others, but leaving ourselves. So reparenting starts when we notice the voice that says, I must fix this so people don't leave. I must shrink so I'm not too much. I must stay quiet so I'm not a burden. and then we introduce a new voice. I call mine the defender. When younger me pipes up and says, "Oh no, they're mad. Fix it so we stay safe," my defender steps in and says, "No, younger me. We didn't do anything wrong. We are allowed to have opinions, even if they make others uncomfortable, and it's in the uncomfort that they will come back around." It sounds simple, but in practice, it's revolutionary. So what does reparenting look like in real life? Well, reparenting looks like grace before shame. It looks like defending the younger you instead of abandoning her, like saying, "I'm not going to hustle for love anymore. I'm going to give it to myself first because I deserve this." It's building new dialogue between the child version of you that panics and the adult version of you that says, wait, no need to panic. You're not alone. I've got you." It's not always poetic. Sometimes it's just crying in your car and holding yourself. Sometimes it's journaling when you want to lash out at someone else. Sometimes it's setting a boundary and then grieving the relationship that can't honor it. It's asking, what age am I when I get triggered? How do I show up? What fear is showing up with me? What would I have needed to hear back then that I'm not giving myself now? How can I say that to myself even when I'm scared? As always, you don't have to be perfect at this. No one's saying, once you watch this video, you'll understand all of it. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. But I want you to know, it's not weak to listen to your wounds. It's not selfish to comfort your sacred inner child. That's not regression. That's returning to the truth, to yourself, and that's where healing, real healing begins. But I'm here to remind you that you're allowed to be held, even if the only arms available are your own. So, if you want more healing tools, please follow me here. I'll see you in the next one. And if you're ready, please join me in some one-on-one coaching and let's tackle your specific story together. We can do this. I'm here for you when you are. I'll see you in the next one.